Yes, so let's get started. GM, hello again. I'm Tamaghna Basu. I'm the founder of DeTaSecure. We are a cybersecurity company. Our vision is to make security simplified and affordable for both Web2 and Web3 companies. And with that vision, we have also built a product called GetSecured. That is our product, which is a fully automated security audit engine for projects as well as for investors to do a security due diligence. And I'm fortunate enough to be a Polygon Advocate. And this is an initiative we're doing in association with the Polygon Advocate team to actually promote Web3 security across the community, create more awareness, and help people understand the importance of Web3 security. So today I'm super excited to have Alex as one of our guests. She is an amazing person. She has not only the security experience, she has also a lot of trust and fraud and different other aspects of security she has experience with. So I'm glad to have Alex, you in this show. So thank you so much for coming and yeah, welcome. Would like to know more about you. Who is Alex? Who are you? What brings you to Web3 security and what's your journey so far? Yeah, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
thanks for kicking us off, Basu. Awesome to be here. I have worked in fraud and risk and a little bit of compliance dabbling, basically really grown as the industry's grown in a few different areas of, as you say, trust and safety. And just, I like to think of it as risk mitigation in general. We have a lot of risk from a lot of avenues. Yeah, so working to de-risk the dark forest. My journey down the proverbial rabbit hole began because I was working on a risk and fraud prevention team at a post-IPO startup, and we had like kind of solved all of the problems, or if we didn't solve them, we had operationalized them. We'd grown from 5 part-timers to like 17 in a high-profile position, contributing to business health and growth. And while it was incredibly gratifying, I was looking for the next challenge. And so it's kind of a great metaphor for how like risk thinking can go and how it should go. If you do it right, you start hands-on and it's all very idiosyncratic and new and exciting. And then hopefully you can progressively operationalize it and you can move on to the next problem. So I was ready to move on to the next problem and looking for the next challenge. That's how I landed at Coinbase. And so that got me into crypto professionally, and just the things that are breaking, the exploits that are happening in crypto present so many unique problems, so many opportunities for systems design thinking and ideating on how like money should work, how incentivization and disincentivization should work. And this just really got me hooked. I was completely hooked. So the thing that really held my attention in Web3 as I went deeper down the rabbit hole and joined Gitcoin is that the people here are amazing, and it's such an idea rich space. The people in Web3 are futurists and free thinkers, extraordinarily talented hackers, and it's a really global community, which I love as we take this call across 2 continents. So I feel incredibly lucky for how my journey's gone so far.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much. And congratulations for being a speaker at DeFi Security Summit. So it's kind of amazing to see your name there. So would be curious to know what you're planning to talk about in the summit, what is that you'll be discussing there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I will be in conversation with some thought leaders in this space discussing economic risk, which is a broad topic to be sure, as just touched on, but excited for the chance to kind of recalibrate the lens of traditional finance and risk assessment and use those methods to sort of reframe the conversation around risk in crypto, especially regulation risk and things of this nature. So the way I think of it is that there's risk in everything. And like there's a risk if we are too slow to adopt new technologies, there's an opportunity cost there. And so as opposed to maybe the mindset reeling back innovation, I hope that this conversation is going to really highlight some of the coolest security innovation in this space. The panel is led by Sohan Chitra, and he's the founder of Gauntlet and teaching devs principles of Web3 security in kind of a simulation environment, which is super cool and novel. And I'm excited to be in conversation with Tarun and others. We'll be at the DeFi Security Summit at 2 p.m. on Saturday the 16th.
Oh, amazing. So that's a very interesting topic because recently I was actually talking to a group of people about that, and we were actually contemplating the fact that the economic exploits gonna grow much bigger. So initially we started with smart contract audit, like the technical vulnerabilities and aspect, those kind of things. but we see now it's like the tip of the iceberg, but actually the bigger game is on the economic exploits, and it's just, slowly surfacing now. And yeah, as you said, Gauntlet and those guys are doing pretty good job on this, but I think this is a really big issue gonna be, that's my prediction, that if we don't address it right away. So yeah, I think I'm glad to hear that someone like you and few more people are actually thinking on that direction and talking about it. So if you don't mind, could you brief about what is economic exploit is for the just our audience, what is that, something you actually can explain a little bit?
Sorry, could you say the question one more time?
Yeah, I'm saying when you talk about economic exploit, is there anything specific, if you could just touch upon a little bit on that, what does that mean? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is one of those questions that means different things based on how your local government is responding to crypto. I think regulation's been on the forefront of everyone's mind for the last couple of years, but it is very much centered in the conversations in North America right now in crypto communities. So I expect we're going to do some touching on that, and also just talk about more macroeconomic trends. We have a recession in Europe, right? We'll be hosted in Paris. We have a little bit of stutter stop in a lot of major
Right.
world economies right now. And so in thinking about that, I think the questions become, how do we build? How do we change? Are there safer ways to do venture capital, for example? Are there other earlier validation methods like grants programs, which can actually show proof of concept and help the builders get from 0 to 1 in a more responsible financial way? So again, kind of a broad topic, but these are some of the things
Yes.
that I expect to come up. And especially with Tehran's background, like I think some of it is also a opportunity right now to educate while we're in this bear market in some areas of the industry, and an opportunity to really dig into developer core competencies.
Yes, yes. So this is very interesting, and I think for the people who would be watching this, I would say that if you are at DeFi Summit, definitely attend this panel, because this subject is very important, and we highly recommend people to read about more and study about it. Moving on to the next one. So, what's your view on the future of Web3 security? Where do you think it's heading towards?
Yeah, it's a great question. Wow. And like I said, all of us are sort of exercising our futurist muscle sometimes in this industry. But personally, I kind of see like two futures for Web3 security. There's like a fork, and to like less user autonomy, less ownership of responsibility, essentially the old ways of doing things in finance kind of winning out under the guise of user protection, more
Right.
custodial holdings, etc. So that's the future that I'm less excited for, since that looks a lot like the past and less like the future. The other future, which I think we have ahead of us, which is very possible if we're all working towards it, is that we can focus on education. We can root down into the deep respect for our end users and our exploiters too. We need to respect the people who are breaking these systems and welcome them in to our processes of risk mitigation, white hats, and things of this nature. Huge opportunity as we globally explode the number of people who are participating in any financial system. And we can design our systems better so that they're less breakable. So this way is more emergent, it's more frightening, it's probably more risky. It involves security and threat researchers working really closely with so-called bad actors. And it requires users to be fully empowered for their financial management, which some users in North America and Europe are a little bit less accustomed to these days. So I think the world most of us want in this space is this one. And I think it might happen simultaneous with some pushback and some more custodial old world ways of thinking about things. We're going to have to fight for it, and we're going to have to continuously exercise trust for one another in radical ways. We're going to need to focus on education and not outsourcing the risk that's inherent in every financial decision. I think it's going to require a lot of personal responsibility for all of us who are participating in the financial systems we want to exist. And if we don't focus on these things now and help each other along, I think we're going to be back where we started, slipping back into a custodial financial world. So those are sort of the forks in the road that I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, no, very good. I think again, you just, I think you're talking to the exact same line which I've been thinking, and talking, a few days back, because we see that collaboration is the key. Primarily, that's what we see. And also the other thing we see that I've been talking to a company and saying that, look, you know what, you have to go to bounty programs, you have to engage the community. It's not that you cannot have hired, like, even if you have money, 10 or 100 security researchers, and that will not be sufficient. Just engage the community and get their thought process into your project. It's build with public, basically, build in public. That's how you can build a more stable solution. So
100%.
glad to hear that again. Moving on to the next question. Now it's about community aspect, like people who are the users or the project owners or the developers, right? From a
Mhm.
security point of view, as a security expert, what would be your recommendation to them? How they can prepare themselves to embrace, let's say, whatever the future trends are coming up?
Yeah, it's hard because it's probably at the risk of just sounding vague, but like learn, learn, learn. And I think if you're in a position to hire and to curate the people around you, like make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who like to learn. Like the environment of security and blockchain is always changing and it's changing so quickly. And that's what so many of us love about it. But you can't educate your users without educating yourselves and taking that as a huge piece of responsibility for working in the space. Like there needs to be a huge appetite for change and novelty to be successful in this realm. And I think honestly, like all areas of technology are really accelerating. And the best advice is to just like chase what you like, chase what you're interested in. You can't feign curiosity. So chase what you're curious about and give yourself and give others the space to learn and iterate. And I mean, blockchain and cryptography are like fundamentally security products in and of themselves by design. So there's sort of this interesting inflection point that industry has where we have a reputation for scams and broken code that offloads millions of euros daily. So what is the disconnect between this reputation for fear and riskiness versus blockchain as a security product? And at the end of the day, we're learning, we're experimenting, and we do need to think seriously about how to correct the false perception of crypto. We need to think about creating safe spaces for risk and experimentation, sandboxing, and we need to praise failure as a community if we're going to move forward in the next epoch of like truly secure systems. You have to be able to fail while you're learning. This is like a fundamental piece of the space. So figuring out mechanisms of failing forward and of learning from each other and of really celebrating that, I think is my best recommendation if I can make it.
Yes, yes. No, great, great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think these are some fundamentals which a lot of time we tend to ignore because we're always so focused on, building something and launching. We don't probably miss those basic fundamentals, which is, very important to build a relation, build actually a very strong understanding and foundation of building a good team, I would say, right? Great, great. So yeah, the next question would be anything in terms of recent past, any recent hacks which you came across and which found it interesting, which you probably wanted to just share your thoughts, how it happened and what could have done, which could have prevented that, if at all, there is something like that.
Yeah, always. And I guess I will kind of want to highlight like a bit of a flavor of exploit that's going on right now. The Threat Abuse Research Group was reporting out on this even a year and a half ago. So this is not like new by any means, but it is accelerating. And one of the like hacks that's really interesting to me is the takeover of prominent social media influencer accounts to broadcast misinformation. And this transcends the crypto industry, but it's very pervasive to broadcast
Wow.
crypto scams and malicious chain recommendations. And so then, of course, like a caveat, this isn't truly like a hack. Typically, account takeovers are, more so social engineering and phishing these days than anything else. There's not really like a breach that necessarily is guilty for this problem. So I usually hate to use the word hack because mostly it's used to refer to things which are not like properly a hack or a vulnerability in the code base. So I'm breaking my own rule. But to refer to it as maybe like in the colloquial term of like a life hack. This is a hack of folks abusing the community's deference to authority to perpetuate harm. And I think it's really interesting for that reason, because in targeting account takeover for influencers in this space, it just goes to show the concept that some folks in Ethereum call layer zero, Our communities are the first layer, the ground layer of defense and security, even before blockchain technology. Like Ethereum's case, mainnet is layer 1, layer 0 is all of us and how we behave with each other in our social agreements. So in thinking about the prevention of authorities in the space being personally victim to phishing scams and imposter sites, we have to realize that decentralization is not just like a buzzword, and hive mind knowledge has to replace our blind trust in authority figures. So it becomes progressively more clear in the rise of deep fakes, of course, too, because now you can very soon, it seems, be able to make anyone say anything as long as there's enough video footage out there to train a model on. So we need to trust but verify on a mass scale, and we need new tools to do this. And it's really making clear that the tenets of anti-authoritarianism belong in every level of information exchange, from the most common YouTube channels all the way up to the way international monetary policy is spoken about by our world leaders. In every case, we need to be thinking critically and inviting one another to think critically and having multiple sources of our knowledge. So decentralizing our knowledge base, I suppose, is the action we need to take to prevent that hack, which is a tough hill to climb, but a good one.
Yeah, you just opened a Pandora's box. I'd say it's a complete. We can have a 1 hour long discussion on the account takeover
I
and
hope
the
so.
scam.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yes.
let's park that for now. But I think that's a very very serious issue. And again, I think that goes back to something I recently was talking to somebody is about a lot of cases. The Web3 hacks or the exploits are not actually a Web3 vulnerability. It's actually a age-old conventional thing which have been going on for ages, and you just reiterate the same thing and do it, right? Just do a social
Absolutely.
engineering, steal a private key. That's it. Your entire wallet is gone. Like
I
that.
like that word age old because I usually say most of Web3's vulnerabilities are inherited from Web2, but you could go back
Yes.
even further than that. Like we don't need any electronics to con each other and to trick each other and
Yes.
to abuse human nature. So it's
Right.
true. It's age old problems.
Right. Right. Great. I think this was amazing talking to you. And with this, we are coming to the end of this bit. As I said, there's a very quick shot. We just want to create more awareness. So thank you so much, Alex. Again, personally, I've been very glad and fortunate, to have you here. I really appreciate your time. I know you're going to be traveling, and there are a lot of things you want to finish. I wish you all the best at DeFi Summit. As I said, unfortunately, my trip got cancelled, but and I've been there. I would love to meet you in person, but next time, maybe some other time somewhere. But
Great to catch you
uh,
virtually and awesome for
yes,
you to make these conversations available
right,
virtually.
right,
Yeah.
right. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
and yeah, wish you all the best. And yeah, looking forward to hear more about your talk and your thoughts. Your posts and tweets and everything. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day.
Yes, I'm good.